Welcome to the English Talk Show,
where you can learn English with cozy conversation. Hello, and welcome to the English Talk Show, the podcast where we explore the lost arts of society, etiquette, and meaningful connection. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Harry. Get comfortable. This isn't a history lecture. It's a chat between friends about something we all do but rarely master: conversation. Today, we're opening a beautiful 19th century guidebook to polite society.
Think of it as finding an old leather-bound manual on how to be a delightful human in company. The very first rule might be the most resonant for our modern world, especially around the dinner table. It states plainly, one of the first rules for a guide and polite conversation is to avoid political or religious discussions in general society.
And it doesn't mince words on why. It says such talks lead almost invariably to irritating differences of opinion, often to open quarrels and a coolness of feeling. Its point is that only one out of many can discuss these topics with true candor and control of their temper.
It's fascinating because it's not a blanket. Hello, and welcome to the English Talk Show, the podcast where we explore the lost arts of society, etiquette, and meaningful connection. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Harry. Get comfortable. This isn't a history lecture. It's a chat between friends about something we all do but rarely master: conversation. Today, we're opening a beautiful 19th century guidebook to polite society.
Think of it as finding an old leather-bound manual on how to be a delightful human in company. The very first rule might be the most resonant for our modern world, especially around the dinner table. It states plainly, one of the first rules for a guide and polite conversation is to avoid political or religious discussions in general society.
And it doesn't mince words on why. It says such talks lead almost invariably to irritating differences of opinion, often to open quarrels and a coolness of feeling. Its point is that only one out of many can discuss these topics with true candor and control of their temper.
It's fascinating because it's not a blanket ban. It allows for these discussions in specific, intentional settings, a private club, a small group of friends who've agreed to debate. But at the dinner table, in the drawing room, or in mixed company, the advice is clear. Drop the distasteful subject before the coolness sets in.
But if you're drawn in, what then? The guide is wonderfully practical. Listen courteously and keep your temper. A man in a passion ceases to be a gentleman. That hits home. Even if you're convinced the other person is utterly wrong, yield gracefully, decline further discussion, or dexterously turn the conversation.
It's about emotional regulation, and the guide has this bitingly funny observation about the person who can't do that. The one who gives their opinion not as an opinion, but as a law. You know the type, who says, well, if I were president, I would.
Yes, and the guide's comment is a classic. While such a person, by the warmth of their argument, proves they're utterly unable to govern their own temper, they're trying to persuade you they are perfectly competent to take charge of the government of the nation. It's a brilliant takedown.
The summary is perfect. Retain, if you will, a fixed political opinion, yet do not parade it upon all occasions. Listen calmly, and if you cannot agree, differ politely. And while your opponent may set you down as a bad politician, let him be obliged to admit that you are a gentleman. It elevates civility over being right.
So, we've established the don'ts. Now, what are the do's? What makes conversations sparkle? The guide says wit and vivacity are essential, but, and this is key, strained wit is an excessively bad taste.
It paints a picture of the unbearable guest, the everlasting talker, who scatters puns and jokes so profusely they become as tiresome as a comic newspaper, drowning out others with their own loud laugh. True wit, it says, is a delicate, powerful weapon, used sparingly and at the right moment.
Then it moves to the real foundation: education. But not just book learning. It's about comprehension, the agility of mind to catch rapidly the meaning of anything that is advanced. So even if you know nothing about astrophysics, you can follow a basic explanation and ask a thoughtful question.
This is my favorite part. It argues that without this agility, conversation can't rise above small talk without becoming a lecture. With it, society becomes instructive as well as amusing. It even makes an observation, very of its time, that this skill is often seen in married women who cultivated the habit of attention and ready reply as intellectual companions.
It's about active listening as a learned art. Next, it champions the cultivation of taste. Being with someone insensible to all beauty is dull, and you need a working knowledge of art and music. Know your Mozart from your Rossini, not to show off, but to participate.
But beware the opposite, the dilettante, who shows off knowledge in a way that makes others feel ignorant. The guide's golden rule: don't be a one-topic pedant, whether your topic is Renaissance poetry or horseflesh. The gentleman obsessed with horse points is as much a bore as the literary snub.
The guide then makes a stunningly modern point. Reason plays a less conspicuous part in good society because its frequenters are too reasonable to be mere reasoners. Arguments are tedious. Discussions are welcome. Cultivate your reason so you can support why you think something, not just state it.
And it laments the most neglected skill, the art of speaking our own language well. Precision and accuracy must begin in the very outset. More misunderstandings arise from bad grammar than anything else. The commonest thought, well put, is more useful than the most brilliant idea jumbled out.
It advises being a thoughtful reader. Someone who digests a newspaper is better company than someone who devours books without reflection. Be a citizen of the world, informed on current events, literature, and history. All of this underpins modesty. A truly intelligent person doesn't show off.
This leads to the master key, a quote from La Bruyere. The great charm of conversation consists less in the display of one's own wit and intelligence than in the power to draw forth the resources of others.
That's it. Your goal is to make the other person leave feeling pleased with their own contribution. Therefore, being a good listener is the highest art, and the guide gets ruthlessly practical about it.
Never interrupt, not even to helpfully supply a word. Never finish someone's story. Never show wariness, no glancing at your watch. In a group, don't start a side conversation or try to pull one person out of the circle.
Put yourself on the same level. Don't explain your own fancy words. Don't talk incessantly about your job or your travels. "When I was in Paris" is a sure way to lose an audience. Adapt your tone to the company. Don't give a sermon at a dance.
Avoid gossip, calling it utterly despicable in a man. Avoid flattery. A sincere compliment is fine, but broad flattery is seen as manipulative or a sign you have nothing else to say. A sensible person would rather discuss ideas than be showered with empty praise.
And then there's a brilliant section on a subtle sin, the use of inflated, exaggerated language. The guide calls this a daily habit of uttering untruths. It gives these wonderfully relatable and funny examples.
They're so good. The rain came down in torrents. A torrent from the sky? Unlikely. I've told him 50 times. Probably 5. I never closed my eyes all night. If true, you're exhausted. If false, it's a lie. He ran like lightning. Faster than a racehorse? Doubtful. It was as dark as pitch. Pitch is darker than any night. The guide says we lazily use these black as soot, hot as fire cliches, and it erodes our integrity in speech.
Let us love truth, follow truth, and practice truth in our thoughts, our words, and our deeds.
It ends on this beautiful moral note. This isn't about stiff, fussy rules. It's a philosophy for interaction. Be generous, be curious, be precise, be kind. Make the shared space of conversation a genuine pleasure for everyone.
It's about being the person in whose company others feel brighter and more interesting because you have the skill and the generosity to help them shine.
Music swells gently, then lowers. And we'd love for you to be part of our conversation. If this journey into the art of talk resonated with you, please help us grow the Charming Conversationalist community.
The single best way to do that is to hit the subscribe button on YouTube and tap the bell icon for notifications. It truly makes all the difference and ensures you never miss a new exploration.
Let us know in the comments what's one tip from the past that you think modern conversation needs most. Is it listening more, avoiding politics, or ditching exaggeration? We read every single one.
Thank you so much for listening and for valuing the art of good talk. Until next time, keep the conversation charming.
Both. Goodbye. Music fades out.